Okay, now we're going to open the pink egg. Do you have any guesses what could be inside? Well, let's open it and see. I wish you guys were here to open them for us. Okay, these are the coins that represent the 30 pieces of silver that Judas used to betray Jesus. Do you know what betrayed means? It's kind of like turning your back on somebody. All right, let me read to you about the coins. The Jewish leaders wanted to get rid of Jesus. He was not the kind of Messiah or Son of God they wanted. They were looking for God to send a warrior-like king, one riding on a horse, not a donkey, who would come and overthrow the Roman Empire that ruled over the Jews. But that was not God's plan. Instead of a conquering warlike king, Jesus came as a man, peaceful, humble, and full of God's love. He came to earth to show us his love, and that true goodness only comes from our Father in heaven. And this goodness is what God causes to happen in our hearts and our lives when we follow Jesus. But again, only God can bring about this goodness. We can't do anything good without God. The Pharisees, however, would go parading around, showing how good they thought they were, and yet their hearts were not good. They were judgmental, selfish, and prideful. They kind of thought they were better than everybody else. Jesus wanted the people to know that this was wrong. He taught that it's not what we're like on the outside that's important, just like Mr. Fryer talked about, but it's what's inside our hearts instead. Remember how we used the toilet paper? And he said the toilet paper is the outside and we throw the roll away. The roll is like our heart, what God sees. Jesus said if our hearts are made clean, then we will be clean and pleasing on the outside also. Jesus told the Pharisees that what they were doing was wrong and that they needed to change. This made the Pharisees and the Jewish leaders mad. They did not want Jesus to tell them they were sinful. They wanted to continue living selfish, prideful lives. They didn't want to change and be like God wanted them to. And this is what sin really is, living our lives being disobedient to God. Judas was one of Jesus' disciples who at first followed Jesus but decided to be disobedient to God. By disobeying, he was choosing to throw away his love for Jesus. He did this by betraying Jesus to his enemies, leading the Jewish leaders to where Jesus was so they could put him to death. And Judas betrayed Jesus for only, do you remember how many pieces of silver? 30. When someone betrays, it is sin. Betraying is when someone lies, pretending to be your friend, but instead is really your enemy. Even though Judas was one of Jesus' disciples, he turned against Jesus. As a result, the Jewish leaders captured Jesus so they could put him on trial for saying he was God. Okay, now tomorrow we're going to get to open 2 more eggs.